right. So Spazpol here, or well, back. I think it's been a while.
Yeah, welcome back. It's good to have you back on the reviews.
Thanks, Alex. Don't get used to it. I was tapped for this because it's like, hello neighbor. And what was it, Planting? Warren's like, oh, Damien loved that game. And I'm like,
He did say that.
yeah.
Did you
He was
love
like,
that
I was
game?
like, oh god, no. I finished the game. I endured the glitchiness, and then when they finally patched the achievements, I did the 100% completion because I just was like, I wanted it done. So he's like, oh, you obviously like the game. I'm like, no, I just finished it. You never went back to doing it. And he's like, oh, that's clearly you liked it more than me. And you're like, I guess. Yeah.
I guess that's kind of true then. If you finished it and Planting was like, nah, mate, I'm not going back.
Yeah. Now, that would have meant a lot more if Warren didn't like start things and didn't complete them all the time.
Yeah, he does. That's true. He does do that.
Yeah, so it was like, oh, this game should be. I mean, it's like this one. It's like I'll finish it, but we'll get into this. But like, so we're talking about Hello Neighbor 2. Well, actually, it's just Hello Neighbor Hide and Seek.
Yeah.
This was published by Tiny Build and developed by Dynamic Pixels. This was released last year. Well, we're really,
You're stretching it.
It's like a year ago. Yeah, no, it came out December 7th of 2018, so it's still under a month old, but it was last year, guys, technically.
Did you say see you next year to people on New Year's Eve as well?
Oh, yeah, I totally was like, because I'm old enough now where that joke is supposed to be funny. See you next year. Yeah, my inside sales rep, and I'm like, no, probably not. But yeah, I like to butcher a bad joke, especially but you got to say it sarcastically. You gotta be like a troll when you do it. You can't be like, oh, see you next year. I'm so clever. Like, no.
All right, let's move on.
So U.S. price of $29.99. What's that in Australia?
It's $44.95 Australian dollars.
Oh, such a bargain. Like $30. I'm like, wow, that's halfway to. On a side note, I just got with a gift card, I got a Mario Kart 8 Deluxe for Switch for the same price. But
yeah, I think we
digress.
know which one of those we'd rather play.
Yeah. Hello Neighbor, clearly. Yeah. So it is a quote. The genre per TA says stealth. I would say, yeah, maybe. I'd hate to say platformer, but
it has definitely got platform elements. Definitely got stealth elements.
Yeah,
even a little bit adventure. I mean, a little bit, but yeah, there is definitely a big stealth portion of the game for sure.
So time estimate. I think that completely depends on if you're going to use a guide.
Yeah, definitely.
What did you say? How much time did you sink into it with? Because you completed it already.
Yeah. So I've completed it. I've got all the achievements and finished the story. I guess the way I did it, I followed guides from Bill Zuminati. It took me about probably 6 to 8 hours, I'm guessing, but I think that it's probably around that time. If you weren't using a guide,
and you're going for 100% completion.
Plus hours, yeah. To figure out the puzzle elements of this game are quite tricky.
The error codes, I'd give you 100 hours. I don't think you're ever gonna. We'll get into that, but I again, this is like one of those games where I don't know how it is feasible you would ever finish it without looking at a guide. I don't even know how the people who made the guides figured out some of these things. Like, seriously, what? Huh?
Yeah, I did find myself wondering that when I was watching the guides. So the reason I ended up watching a guide is because I was struggling with what actually to do in the game. Yeah. So I just wanted to pop up a quick guide. I'm like, oh, here's a walkthrough, and they tell you about the buttons in it and which ones to use. But yeah, I did find myself wondering when I was watching these videos, I'm like, how did Bill Zuminati figure this out? Like, does he have someone at Tiny Build or Dynamic Pixels helping him with this? Or, is there a forum somewhere that people are sharing ideas?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did find myself wondering exactly the same thing for sure.
So we'll go a little bit of that. So the plot. So Hello Neighbor Hide and Seek is, if you did play the original Hello Neighbor, you had this weird, creepy neighbor guy who maybe killed, did not kill, not sure, somebody or another. See, no plot spoilers there, because we're going to assume you played the original game now that it's old.
Yeah,
Um, so you are, I guess, like when you start out, you find out that that neighbor from the original game is married with kids, a boy and a girl. You know, it's a normal atomic. Is it atomic family, nuclear family, whatever? Married with two kids.
sure. I'm
Sure.
not sure what word you're aiming for, but sure. An
Yeah,
atomic,
there's like,
photonic, and neutronic family.
yeah, it's like whatever. Like the quote unquote American dream is like you're married, white picket fence with like one of each child type. It's like, yeah, that's
Yeah,
it. Nuclear family. Yeah, nuclear family is like, ooh, like
that
so
sounds right.
yeah. So you are then, so the hide and seek element is you are the brother and sister, assuming they're siblings, and you're playing hide and seek games, and you're using your imagination. So level one, you are, I guess, in the jungle, but there's elements of, you're clearly in the house slash room because there's chairs and cabinets. But like in the first one, you play as the girl, and then the older brother is the seeker, and you're not as much hiding, but you're trying to meet an objective. So like in the first one, you have to capture your stuffed animals you're hunting or whatever, and you are trying to capture all 16 animals and put them into the bin, and the older brother is trying to catch you, and he's dressed up as, I guess in that one he was a tiger, lion, something.
Yeah, yeah, it was something like that. Did you think
Yeah.
he was older brother? I always thought of him as a younger brother, and I don't really know why.
No, because well, if you were taking your time in finding stuff, it would cut to the cutscene, and he would go and give you quote unquote hints. Like he would draw the arrow of like, look over here, and then when you
Yeah,
went in the room, the arrow. So that really, for me, that felt like an older brother aspect of like, oh, my sister's obviously having a hard time here. Let me give her a little help. Because if that was a younger brother and your older sibling was having problems, I'd be like, well, hell yeah, beating me up my entire life. I'm looking out for you, older
yeah.
sibling.
I guess it was maybe. Well, I don't want to spoil later on in the game, specifically the ending. It made me think he was the younger brother, but it's not. It's not really explicitly noted anywhere
Yeah, we'll talk
whether he is.
offline about that, because
Yeah,
I want to know, having vested so much time into this and getting into the later stages. Yeah, there's clearly something. There is a story that's going on that has almost nothing to do with the gameplay, other than just advancing you through from each of the scenarios that you're hiding and seeking. So yeah.
yeah. So you've got, like you said, you've got stage one where you're trying to return, I think it's 16 of your stuffed toys
Yep.
into the crate without getting caught. Uh, Level two is where you're trying to return money bags and you're playing like a cops and robbers scenario.
Yep.
Level three, I'm not really sure. Everything's kind of on fire. I'm not sure
Yeah, so
what
I think
that's
you were
all
dressed
about.
as a firefighter. So you're a
Yeah,
firefighter, and you're trying to, because you're trying to rescue something from the fire, and he was dressed up as fire. So
yeah, the smoky toys that you have. I guess
yeah.
they're toys as well. But your brother's literally on fire the entire time when he's chasing you. So when you hear that music come on and you turn around and there's a fireball chasing you, yeah, it makes the hairs on the back of your neck stand up, you know. But
Yeah.
there's only 5 levels. If you follow them with a guide, you can finish them in probably 20 to 30 minutes each if you don't get caught. But I guess that's kind of one of the things I had in like a negative on the gameplay, was I noticed it probably on level one more than any other, but the brother is so sensitive. Like he can see you from across the map, and the music starts to tell you he's coming to chase you, and you're just like, I've got no idea where he's coming from. There's no indicator, so you try and run away. You might be running straight into him. You've got no idea where he's coming from.
So
Um,
so for people, because there is absolutely zero instruction, and
Yeah.
zero. And if you listen to the original review I had of Hello Neighbor back on that old podcast I was on, Z to Z, it's still out there for a little bit. That was the same complaint. There's nothing that goes through a tutorial telling you how to do controls or anything. So there is a mode where you can turn on the quote unquote, it's called friendly neighbor, but it's not your neighbor, it's your sibling, but whatever. What happens is that they don't set traps as much, so they are a little less fidgety, i.e., on finding you. And also, there is an achievement where it says you should hide, where you are supposed to get caught 10 times and they take out objects that you've captured after you've hit a certain threshold. If you turn off the hard mode, you put it to friendly, you can't get that achievement because he will no longer take stuff back after you've caught a certain amount. But if you've got that achievement, then by all means turn it on, because it's a pain in the butt otherwise. You're just making it harder for yourself.
I guess the other thing I did as well is I tried to make it as easy as I could. I used the save function, and there's actually an achievement for saving 40 times. I didn't get that before legit? I got to level 4. Hey?
So you did that legit, like just saving a lot.
Yeah, well, I think it was in level 5 that I went there and I just saved 10 times in a row because I knew I was actually going to get through the game. But the saving it's unusual. You know, when you save a game, you expect that you're going to come back, you're going to be in the same spot, and everything is going to be in the same spot. Like if you were playing, the first game that comes to mind is Doom. You know, you save Doom, you come back, all the enemies are in the same spot. All the enemies you killed are gone. Everything is the same. But when you save in this, you come back to the start of the level. And that's important, not so much in the first level, but the later on levels, such as when we were talking about level 3, the fire level.
Oh.
You have to platform in between the buildings. You have to jump up a chair leg, you know, get up the backing of the chair onto the building, and that's hard enough to time. So I was saving in between each jump on the buildings, and when I fell down, I'd load, but it would load me back at the start of the game instead of on top of the buildings. So it's not a true save function.
And that's annoying because the platforming right to that point, they did not improve the mechanics from the original game in that, by and large, for the game, you get away with it. It doesn't really matter. You don't need to have that precise control. But as you said, level 3, and I don't know about the other 2 because I'm still stuck going through 3, but it gets to almost a precision of platforming where you have no idea where your feet are. Like you're on a ledge and you only have like a fraction of a second to run and jump, but you have no idea where the ledge is because the way the view is, you're just like, I think it's here. No, you ran off the ledge again. And then it's like you repeat over and over. So I don't like that there is aspects of it that required such tedious, platforming with just a horrible mechanic.
Yeah, the platforming is probably one of the trickiest aspects of the game. It's very hard to kind of get it, and I think I fell down numerous times when I was jumping in between those buildings in level 3. And it got to a point where I could make it most of the time, but you're never sure that you're going to make it because you have to be almost pixel perfect when you jump in between some of those buildings. It's really finicky, and it is definitely a weaker aspect of the game. But apart from level 3, I didn't mind it. Didn't do too much to detract apart from level 3 where you need to be pixel perfect.
Yeah. But I mean, other than that aspect of the gameplay, it's, I guess, fine. I mean, the levels were, I mean, again, right? Like to find all of that, I think once you get the idea of how things go, and like if you're watching like a guide to say, oh, this is how you turn these things on, or oh, I need to, take rocks so I can make these vents work better. Once you kind of get that, like finding the rest of, like, I didn't need a guide to find the rest of the stuffed animals. I needed a guide at the beginning to figure out how do I do this and that. Oh, now I get it. now I can go find the rest of them. That, you know, I out of the 16, I found that, and even the 33. Like in the second stage though, I don't know how I would have found that safe combination, other than
Yeah, yeah, no idea on that. But that's just going back to what you said about level 1 and level 2. There, it's I don't know how I would have figured anything out without watching a guide, and that is the whole reason that I started looking at a guide, because I couldn't find a single toy to put in the box. And that was after I figured out that you needed to put the toys in the box. I was just running around and the brother was chasing me, and I'm like, okay, do I have to stay hidden from him for a certain amount of time? I didn't even know that you could hide in the bushes
oh yeah,
that
yeah.
were nearby. I had no idea until I started watching a guide.
Oh yeah,
And that,
like you'd see the bush and you'd be like, okay, that little icon got bigger. Which, hey, by the way, that icon gets bigger when you could do something. I bet you didn't notice that at first.
yeah.
And then you're like,
it's only slightly bigger too, though. So if you're running past the bush, you'll never see it unless
oh
you're standing next to a bush and you notice, because it's just a white circle
yeah.
and it becomes a slightly larger white circle. It is tough to tell.
And then what button do you push to do something?
Yeah. Probably press A, maybe X. No, you press right bumper.
Yeah, and not left
Right,
bumper, because then you're going to throw whatever you have in your hand, which you can never.
Yeah.
That's the worst thing too. Like, you're running around with something in your hand, like, oh, I have inventory slot left and bottom empty. Oh, can I switch to my empty hands? No, you're going to have that stupid thing in your hand when you're running around, because it's the only thing. Like,
Yeah.
can I just put it in my pot? No.
Yeah, the water gun in level 2 was a big problem for that. It takes up a quarter, a third of the screen, and I'm trying to see what's happening on the right hand side. I can't see. It makes it really tough to see. And I guess one of the other things just on that is when you hide in a bush when the big brother has been chasing you, he kind of hovers around you for quite some time. The screen will change a color when he gets within a certain distance of you. But if you get into the bush safely and he's far enough away, he sometimes just sits there and like almost waits for you to come out. And I don't think it's deliberately programmed to do that, because he has some set animations that he does, every now and then. And one of the ones that you and I were talking about offline, I have to mention it because it's just so bizarre. He like sits on the ground. This is in the first level. He sits on the ground and like drags his bum along the ground. He uses his feet to drag his bum along the ground, like he's a dog that's got worms in his ass. I was like, I don't, sorry for the visceral visual for you there.
Bum, and then you're like, suddenly, he's got in a.
It's just weird. Like he drags it along, and the cutscenes kind of paint him as, this doting brother, and you get along with him, and then he's sitting there dragging his bum along the ground. I'm like, I don't understand that, because that's pretty weird. Someone had to program the brother to do that.
That's
what I was thinking every time I saw that. But the good thing is if
somebody made that happen.
Yeah. But the good thing is when you hop into a bush, it's kind of, he doesn't see you anymore. He doesn't like deliberately wait outside the bush for you to come out.
Yeah, even if he was right behind you, right when you jumped in, you literally I love that. Like, you're like, I'm 1 foot from you, into the bush. Where'd they go? It's like playing peekaboo with like an infant. You put the blanket up, peekaboo, and they're like, where'd you go? You're right there in front of me.
So much like that. It kind of got me thinking when I first played the game. I thought, this brother is way too overpowered. He can see you from so far away. He can chase you. He does not stop chasing you, even when you break like visual on him, until you get into that bush or that hiding spot, or you jump. Like, so you were saying using the vents earlier. If you use the vents to jump up somewhere, he can't use that same vent to jump up and get you. So that, you break that chasing scenario. But when I figured out that when you run, you actually run faster than your brother, it kind of tilts the power back in your favor a little bit. So he can chase you forever, but he's not faster than you.
Correct.
And if he was faster than you, it would completely break the game.
So another thing for listeners who might not have played it yet, left trigger, run button. know that
Yeah.
you'll need to know that button. And again, no tutorial, so you might not know for a bit. You're like, why can't I do certain things? You're probably not holding down the run button, and you need to. And by the way, there's a run button, in case you didn't know.
Yeah. They need to add a tutorial because it literally tells you nothing about what to do.
Yeah, that was a comment on the first game. Glad that they took that advice and completely like, nope.
Yeah. Well, I guess the good thing is that you were saying the friendly mode doesn't disable the achievements, apart from the one where you need to get caught 10 times. But turning that on and turning the hints on, they don't disable achievements.
Correct.
So it's good if you want to get it out of the way nice and fast. I actually didn't turn on the friendly mode because I wasn't sure if it would disable the achievements, and I thought about it, and I think it was level 3. He's tough in level 3, the brother.
Yeah.
But we should move on a little bit from that. Otherwise, we're already at 20 minutes.
Yeah, I think really that's left is the graphics, and I mean,
you're not impressed by them?
No, I mean, it's weird because I think it's that I just don't like that animation style. The animation is good in that it is obviously all, I guess, maybe technically hand rendered. It really looks like, very cartoonish. Like, obviously, it's like depicting the kids' imaginations and all that. From that aspect, the graphics are good. However, just that the artistic style used for playing in the game and all that just didn't do anything for me. I mean, it's better graphics than like saying, hey, like, we're just going to go slap like some retro 16-bit graphics on what's the game of the month, Celeste or whatever. Like, like stuff like that to me is like, that's just like phoning it in. Right? You're not putting any effort. They do a better job in this in terms of the graphics, but it's not like anything to me like visually like stunning. Like, oh my god, I feel like I'm so wrapped in it. It's just like, okay. And I mean, I guess you're like, it's better than nothing, but I just personally wasn't like a huge fan of it. But
well, I was playing on an Xbox One X, and I literally just got my 4K TV a couple of days before we decided to review this. So for me, when I was looking around at the world, like in the first level, when you jump up to the shelving, I took a little look around. It's pretty nice. I think that you can tell that they have put in a lot of effort.
yeah.
And I think I haven't seen it without the 4K patch, but looking at it only with 4K, I was just thinking to myself, this is a nice looking game. So they haven't really spared the expense, probably on that front.
Yeah, as I said, I think it comes down to like my complaint on the graphics is not about that they didn't put the effort in. I just didn't like the style of it, right?
Yeah.
And it's I think that comes down to the like some artists, like some people are like, oh, Picasso, amazing. Other people be like, okay, like, we're not arguing that they didn't do a good job doing it. It's just like, it's not what I would have done for the graphics, but I for what they're especially based on the original game, they're sticking within the theme of Hello Neighbor. That's what this guy is.
Yeah. So we should talk quickly about the achievements as well. There are only 17 of them for the game.
Yep.
You have your standard, 5 or 6 of them for finishing each level and finishing the game. There's a few of these error achievements. I think you mentioned them earlier, where you have to get out of the map in the first 4 levels. You do that. But then there's, like the ones that you need to continue doing, things like the 40 saves. You need to get caught 10 times when you have more than 6 toys in your crate. You need to use the crow taxi 20 times. Just things like that. It's a pretty straightforward list. There's nothing on there that will trip you up too much if you can put in the time to get the game done.
Yeah. No, and it again, like none of those achievements outside of the errors is hard or unstraightforward, and even the error ones are straightforward. And you just have to do wherever the glitch in the map is. I think it's just I'm beyond myself on how anybody would figure out where those things are and the sequence of events to like do it.
Agree. Yeah, because they're not very intuitive to find the ways out. It doesn't mark them on the map on how to get out. You would quite literally stumble out of the map and be like, "Oh, there it is." You wouldn't know.
Yeah, but like to get to where you stumble out of the map is like the sequence of events is like, what? Like, who did this?
Yeah,
like, who found this out?
it's almost like they put in the achievements to find an Easter egg.
Yeah,
but there's no Easter egg put there. You just fall out of the map and find yourself looking up at the bottom of the map.
Yeah. Well, then I guess that's the Easter egg. You got the achievement. But and this is where I think you were asking. So when this game came out, it's been in alpha and then beta and Steam for a while. So I think that's where a lot of like people that are getting this like are people that had been playing since alpha and beta and knew where a lot of this stuff going on had happened. The same thing with the original Hello Neighbor. I had to go back to a lot of alpha videos and all that to figure out some of the stuff, even though by the time that it made it into the final builds that were used by Xbox, some of that stuff was taken out. So it's like, hey, here's something. And you're like, oh, you can't actually do that anymore. That's been actually patched or fixed.
Okay. All right. Well, so in terms of the verdict, would you recommend it? What do you think overall?
I mean, my thing has always been like, even on the first one, that price is steep. I mean, for a $30 game, again, it kind of comes back to that, the graphics are really good given what they've put into time, and the price based on the amount of time and effort and the back end resources. It's like, it makes sense, but it's just, did I get that kind of value out of it? And for me, no. I mean, even the bundle price of the old game and the new game for $50 is like steep. I would be saying this should be, honestly, like, it's almost like close to twice as much as I would think that it's worth. Like, I would see, like, for me, US dollars, $20, having on sale for $15 would be like, okay, it takes a lot of time. It goes through. It's really well done. But like $40, you're just like, or 30, 45 Australian, you're just like, wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, it's quite steep. I think it's probably 10 to 15 US dollars. I think that's probably about what it's worth. It's quite steep. And I think that even if you didn't use a guide, you would get the time out of it, but you would also get super frustrated.
Yeah.
Because I'd be surprised if anyone finished, the second or third level without using any guides. I'm just not really sure. Even if they had the hints that point to you, telling you where they are, like there's a safe in the second level, and how do you find out the code? I mean, I got the code because Bill Zoom and I's video told me the code, but I have no idea how you would find that organically in the level.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
Sure.
Yeah, like some of those things, and my complaint even on the first one is the same thing. Like, you would find that, but even if you got it and figured it out, I'm not sure if it was rewarding. That's the other thing. Like, sometimes there's games that have like a total puzzle aspect, but you get it and you're like, yes, I feel this game. I'm just like, the puzzles are solved, but you just don't even almost feel like they're solved. They're almost just like, oh, I found some way to kind of glitch around it, I guess. Oh, it's not a glitch. That's how it was supposed to work. Okie dokie.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think if you can get it for $10, US $10, that's worth the price of admission.
Oh, yeah.
Once you figure out how to play the game and how the game works, I found myself enjoying the later levels a lot more, because that first level was just frustration until I found the guide online. I did not know how to do it, and I would not have figured it out myself.
Yep. Agreed. So, all right. So, again, we're both like fine with the game, but just, way high on the price.
Yeah. This Hello Neighbor, hide and seek.
Oh, yeah. All right. Well, thanks, Alex. And thanks for having me back on for this installment. And maybe you guys will hear me some other time this year. Who knows?
Look forward to it.
All right. Thanks. Thanks, guys.
So yeah.